Now is ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Congressman Adam Schiff. Congressman, thanks for joining me. I know that you said yesterday your support for this would be contingent on the White House position. The White House seems to be in support of it. Are you?
Well, I'm going to take a look at the final text that's come out of the Senate, but it would give me a lot more comfort if indeed the White House looks it over and decides that this is something they can live with, and not only that, won't disrupt the negotiations. Alex, I have to say I find a couple things very puzzling about this, though. One is I'm not sure why it's so imperative that we weigh in during the course of the negotiations, since we have every right to vote on this after the negotiations are over. And beyond that, here we are 8 months into the war against ISIL, and I've been pushing for a vote on an authorization to use force, and that the Congress doesn't seem all that interested in taking up.
Why is that, do you think? I know Chris Murphy brought up the same point, that there seems to be a double standard in terms of oversight. All the oversight in the world, well, as much as Congress can get on the Iran nuclear deal, but when it comes to war powers, it's kind of like a game of hot potato. Why do you think that is?
Well, I suspect it's because some of the members think there's a political benefit, a domestic political benefit from voting on the negotiation, but don't see any benefit at all voting on a war resolution. And while I can understand that political dynamic, as someone who cares a lot about the institution of Congress and our role in the checks and balances, and as a counterweight to the president's power to make war, I think this is a terrible abdication of our responsibility. So I hope that we will find some of the same eagerness about an AUMF vote that so many in the Senate have been displaying over a vote during the negotiations.
Well, some of those over-eager or eager folks in the Senate include Democrats, and I wonder, did it surprise you that there were many Democrats in the upper chamber who came out in support of a more stringent version of this bill, one that would have doubled the review period to 60 days, a bill that the White House didn't like? The support for that bill, the bill that the White House didn't like, was coming from Democrats. What is that about?
Well, I'm not sure. I have to think again that it's the domestic political considerations that were driving that, and I see some of that at play in the House as well. But I'm glad that that has been overcome, and I think that probably Secretary Kerry, among others, made a persuasive case over the last several days that they ought to be given the chance to see if they can get a deal. And after all, we don't have a deal yet. We may not get a deal. And if we were smart about this, and Congress is not often accused of that, but if we were smart about this, we would try to coordinate our efforts with the White House to put maximum pressure on Iran in these final weeks of a negotiation. To the degree that we are divided, I think it only helps Iran.
Congressman Adam Schiff, always good to see you. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Alex.
With me now is Washington.